Welcome to the T-Bird Zone. I'm Kyle Cottom. You can see this show streamed every week on SUTbirds.com and SUUnews.com. We're in the studio today with head football coach Ed Lamb, talking about a recap of the great win over Sacramento State. And Coach, 35-14, it seemed like the game plan worked. We had more yards, forced more turnovers. Everything just seemed to work well. Was there maybe one particular aspect you thought worked out the best?
Well, I would say the most significant aspect was the way that the players prepared all week. And I thought that our offensive and defensive staff, our special teams coaches did a great job of preparing the players. But it's really about the commitment that the players put in during the week. I think once the game got there, the coaches could have swapped sidelines. We could have gone over to Sacramento State's side, and they could have came over to our side, and all the work's been done. And so our players put in that work. I thought you saw a highly motivated team against a team, Sacramento State, that thought they were going to walk in here and walk all over our guys, and that just wasn't the case. By the end of the game, they understood that not only were our guys well prepared and willing to play hard, but our guys were physically stronger, much stronger, and it showed.
Was there maybe one point that you thought there could still be some improvement?
Yes, there's always room for improvement. I thought Sacramento State did a nice job of attacking our first punt. They got after it, and I thought they did a good job of dictating the tempo early. They came to play. I think they maybe had thought that they delivered the knockout blow by scoring the first touchdown, but I was just really pleased with the way that our guys battled back against a very, very good team. I think Sacramento State will win their share of games. It
seemed like there were some demons exercised from the first game to now the second game. Went for it a couple times on fourth down in this game, made it. Went for the 2-point conversion, made it. Mm-hmm. Was there and I'm sure it's a game-to-game type thing, but was there a sigh of, okay, 2-point conversion, we can check that off the list, it can be done?
Yeah, probably more with our players. I think a young men at that age, at the college age, their confidence can sometimes go up and down with whether or not we're winning or losing or converting the fourth downs or the 2 points or getting stops on defense, whatever the situation might be. But for our coaching staff, I think we've got a mature coaching staff that's been working together for several years now, and we're really more interested in our team's progress. And so if we miss a 2-point conversion in game one, there's no concern that that's going to lead into missing it in game two, or a fourth down conversion, or not getting a stop on third down. We're really more interested in taking the disappointments, using those as a lesson, and trying to get better for the next week.
Let's talk about some individual performances from the game. The backfield especially had a great game with both Austin Menifee and Decker Alexander. Austin Menifee running a kickoff back for a touchdown. I think both backs had 2 touchdowns in the game. Both seniors. Talk a little bit about the backfield and how important they are to the offensive philosophy.
Well, anytime, historically with our style of offense, anytime that our running game gets going, then we have a really strong chance to dictate the game with our offense. I think our passing game is always there. We have good receivers. We have a good pass blocking offensive line, and we frankly pass a lot in practice. We try to get each of our skill players 100 touches on the ball every day in practice, and we have to work hard to do that. And so I think it leads to a strong passing game. Our players are skilled in that area, and that's been consistent for us over the past couple of years. But when the running game is going, then the team is really going, and it helps the defense. It runs the clock. It makes the game shorter, and keeps our defense fresh. So Austin and Decker certainly did a fine job, but I thought that the offensive line really deserves a lot of the credit for that as well. And then, of course, Austin's kickoff return for a touchdown was big at that point in the game, but the guys blocking for him really did a lot of the work. Austin's speed made the difference, but he was untouched.
Let's talk about numbers just so we can throw those out. Austin Menifee, 195 all-purpose yards, including 7 pass receptions. It seemed Austin gets put out wide in a lot of the sets. Is that really just to stretch the defense and perhaps even open up an end-around type play?
We're not really an end-around type offense or trick play type of offense, but I suppose if we gave an opportunity for you to run a play a week, that would be a really good play to run flicker, with Austin. Yeah. He's very good at that, and he's got obviously a lot of speed and ability to catch the ball. We've used him as a receiver before. He's played wide receiver in our offense, more so probably in practice. But when we get into an empty or 5 wide receiver set, he becomes the 5th wide receiver a lot. He's good at that. Decker's good at that. They both have their skills and their talents, and really they work together. They make each other better. They compete every day in practice, and they root for each other in practice and in games. And then on game day, they're fresher because they have each other.
Numbers for Decker: 101 all-purpose yards and 84 yards on the ground. Those are really kind of, I don't want to say quiet yards, but it just seemed, I was trying to think back to the game of, I didn't realize he had that many yards.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like he goes out, works hard, and gets the job done.
Yeah, did you say 18 carries?
I didn't look at the carries. It's just strictly yards.
These carries are relatively low. A lot of times if you're watching Sports Center and you think in terms of a 100-yard rusher, a lot of times these guys are packing the ball 30 more times a game, and we didn't need him to do that. We have 2 very good backs and even more down the depth chart, and we've got a good quarterback and good receivers. So we spread it around a lot, and not everybody got a lot of touches. So those were quiet yards in that way, and that there was no announcement in the second quarter that he went over 100 yards or anything like that, because he didn't do that. But he rushed the ball very efficiently, very effectively, as did Austin. It made a big difference.
Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. You talked about going into the game at Sacramento State. They had some big plays at Oregon State, and it would be a matter of limiting those big plays. They went for a few deep balls, one overthrown, but another one where Tyree Mills came back and just swatted the ball away. Really an athletic play by the corners all around. And also Tyler Osborne, basically 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss. How pleased were you on the defensive side of the ball, particularly those 2 individuals?
Right. Well, that's good that you brought them up in that order. Going into the game, a key to the game was how our secondary rotated. In other words, could we be aggressive in the secondary where we should be and at the appropriate times, but yet be over the top to take care of the double pass, the play action pass, whatever the situation might be where Sacramento State would try to get a long one or a cheap one over the top. I thought our secondary did a great job of that. They took away a great quarterback at Sacramento State in a great offense. They took away the first option usually from the quarterback, and that allowed our defensive line to really put some pressure on Sacramento State, and their quarterback had an uncharacteristically low completion percentage in the game, and I give a big credit to the secondary for taking away the first option and taking away the deep alert, and then the defensive line with that extra half second that they had to get to the quarterback, they really put a lot of pressure on all day. Tyler Osborne was a key in that. Sacramento State's game plan was to roll out and do it behind a blocking running back, and Tyler, I thought, really got the best of that matchup all day.
It was a great game. Big win, 35-14. And again, you've been watching the T-Bird Zone. Again, the recap of the game of Sacramento State. Join us every week on SUTBirds.com and SUNews.com. Coach, as always, thanks for coming in. And watch the preview of the Texas-San Antonio game, also on SUTBirds.com and SUNews.com.